There are reports that Bubba Watson is getting axed from LIV Golf, and in this video I'm going to explain why I think that has to happen. So there is a lot of reports out there that Bubba Watson is about to be axed from LIV Golf. Now we have to say that there's been nothing from LIV Golf themselves. So how has this actually happened? Well, Bubba Watson basically played some pretty terrible golf this year by his own standards and finished outside the top 45. And if you finish outside the top 45 on LIV, then you are automatically relegated. But LIV Golf has always had this absolutely, in my opinion, terrible kind of rule that if you are a captain of a team, then you cannot be relegated. And then to give them a little bit of credit, towards the end of this last season, they removed that rule. Once you remove that rule, then you can't backtrack on it. So if a captain has finished in the bottom relegation places of LIV Golf, for LIV Golf to keep any kind of credibility, regardless of who the player is, if Jon Rahm finished in those places, he should be relegated. Obviously, Jon Rahm isn't going to finish in those places, but Bubba Watson has. And if that is the case, then regardless of him being an integral part of LIV Golf, regardless of at the time being one of their bigger signings, regardless of him being an owner of the rangegoats, he has to do one of these two things. He has to step down and just stay as a non-playing captain of the rangegoats, or he has to go to the promotion event and try and earn his way back onto LIV Golf. Now, is someone of Bubba Watson's stature, double Masters winner, this guy's pulled the green jacket on twice, is he going to go to Saudi Arabia to play in a promotions event to try and get himself back onto LIV Golf? In my opinion, if he did that, I would have so much more respect for him, and I'm sure a lot of the golfing world out there as well. And also, it would also be a really lot better look for LIV Golf that is continually criticised as exhibition golf. So what is exhibition golf? Well, exhibition golf, in my opinion, has got nothing to do with the standard of golf. Now, I've watched a lot of LIV Golf, and I've watched a lot more of PGA Tour golf. And if you want to win a LIV Golf event and beat Jon Rahm, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Cameron Smith, I mean, you can name a lot of top players that are in that top half of the LIV roster now. You have to play extremely good standard of golf to win a LIV Golf event, just like you do on the PGA Tour. Now, you know, you may have to beat a more depth of player, but the scores that you have to shoot to win on the LIV Tour event or win on the PGA Tour event, to me, are very similar scores. You're going to have to be pretty much the same amount under par. But the exhibition golf tag can be labelled at LIV, not because of the standard of golf, because the standard of golf is very good. It can be labelled because of the no cut and the fact that there's no real relegation off the tour. Now, that is why I think it's very important that Bubba Watson gets relegated off the tour to give some kind of credibility. If they don't do this and they find a way to keep Bubba Watson on the tour without earning his way back on the tour, it's going to be an extremely bad look for LIV Golf. So, you know, this has been a long time. One thing I want to say here is, I know I've done quite a few videos on LIV Golf recently. I'm not a big LIV Golf fan against the PGA Tour, not at all. It's just that, you know, for these podcasts at the minute, there's just nothing to talk about on the PGA Tour. You know, if there's one criticism I've got of the PGA Tour, is they've got too many events, that they spread far too thinly. So, you know, their top events are absolutely phenomenal to watch, but a lot of their bottom events that are being played at the moment, it's just dull. I'm just not interested in watching it, and I'm certainly not interested in coming on here to talk about it. But with LIV Golf, there are some talking points like this Bubba Watson thing at the moment. So, you know, one thing that I always had a problem with, let's talk about the Majestic. So really, the Majestic should be, if I'm going to get behind a team, then the Majestic should be the team that I'm getting behind. As someone who's a UK golfer, it's got two absolute icons of British golf in Ian Poulter and Lee Westwood and Ryder Cup history. You've then got a young player like Sam Horsfield, who's an incredibly talented player, suffered with some injuries, which has affected his performance on LIV Golf, but Sam is an extremely promising player with a massive amount of potential. And then you've got Henrik Stenson. So, okay, he's not a UK player, but he's almost thought of being like that because, you know, he's got such a massive history in the European Ryder Cup team. So as a UK golfer, the Majestic should be the team that I should get behind, but I just couldn't do it. That whole three captain thing between Poulter, Stenson and Westwood, and that those three could never be relegated. And also, you know, that team can't change that much. The only person, really, who can be changed in that team is Sam Horsfield, because the other three are captains. Unless they turn around at some point and say, you know, I'm not playing well enough now, so I'm going to step back and be a non-playing captain. And, like, for me, that's just another thing with the LIV sort of project that's just a bad look. You know, there should be just one captain per team, and those captains should be able to be relegated. So please get in the comments and let me know what you think. What do you think if LIV Golf find a way for Bubba Watson to come back into LIV Golf for next season? How do you think that looks for the tour? For me, I think that they've got to stick to their guns here. Once they announce that captains could be relegated and one of the captains is finished in the relegation zone, they have to relegate Bubba Watson and make him earn his way back onto LIV Golf. Also, quite interestingly, I think one of the sort of things that LIV Golf does offer as some real kind of extra interest in the off-season is what's going to happen with the teams. So obviously the top 24 guarantee staying on the LIV Golf Tour. But then from 24, I think it's to 45, they are what's called the open zone. So they can be dropped by their team, they can be retained by their team. But it does allow any team that has got players that have finished in the open zone, that gives them the opportunity, if that team wishes to do so, to bring somebody new into that team. So, and obviously the relegated players have gone. Another reason why Bubba Watson should be relegated is that, like, the other players that have been relegated that are obviously just complete journeymen and young pros, the two Vincent brothers being two of them, you know, there's no one causing an uproar about them being relegated, but like there should be no difference between Bubba Watson and the two Vincent brothers. They finished in the relegation zone and they should all be relegated. So obviously Kieran Vincent was in Legion 13 with John Rahm, so that means that John Rahm has got an open space to bring someone into his team. Now, John Rahm obviously knows a lot of people in the world of golf. He's got a lot of friends in the world of golf. So it'd be interesting to see who he is going to bring into his team to replace Kieran Vincent. And a lot of the other teams as well, they can trade between teams if they want to, or they can drop a player and bring in a player from outside of LIV Golf at the moment. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all plays out before the start of next year. And obviously, there is that kind of spectre looming over that actually LIV might go and poach one of the major PGA Tour players like they did with John Rahm last year and start up another franchise, another team. There is still space to fit another team, maybe another two teams into LIV Golf. But coming back to the subject of this video, LIV Golf has to stick to its guns and relegate Bubba Watson from LIV Golf. And what I would love more than anything else is for Bubba Watson to go to the promotions event in Saudi and actually win that or finish in the top 4 and earn his way back onto the tour. For me, that would be an amazingly good look for Bubba Watson, the fact that he's gone and done that. And also, it'd be a great look for LIV Golf as well. But whether it's going to happen, I don't know. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think. How is this whole Bubba Watson LIV Golf thing going to play out? I don't think LIV Golf ever thought that a captain was going to get relegated from the tour. But it's happened, and it's put them in a bit of an awkward situation. What do you think they're going to do about it? Okay, get in the comments. Love to hear from you. And I will see you in the next podcast.